The Detroit Red Wings have apparently done it. According to Elliot Friedman, Swedish free agent Mathias Bromé is going to become a Detroit Red Wing instead of a Vancouver Canuck. This tweet came out literally 4 minutes before I pressed the record button here on Adobe Audition on my computer software to start recording my voice, but it's finally over. The guy who we were tracking for, I want to say like a few months at least. We'd made, I think, 3 videos on Mathias Bromé. First off, talking about how the Capitals, the Canucks, and the Red Wings were in on this player, and then narrowing it down to Vancouver and Detroit, and then making a joint video with him and Niels Höglander about how the IIHF transfer agreement extending gives the teams the opportunity to actually make the signing, but it's Elliot Friedman who gives off the official word it looks like. Obviously, Friedman did say just sounds like Swedish UFA Mathias Bromé has chosen Detroit, not he has indeed 110% sure selected Detroit, but this is good too. Elliot Friedman's an insider. He's a guy who knows his stuff. Rick Dhaliwal just now also tweeted Bromé to Detroit over Vancouver. Immediately, I saw some Canucks fans kind of get upset about this, saying, oh, it's disappointing how he didn't want to come here and play with Petey and Edler and Markstrom and Eriksson and all the Swedes and try to find a role with our really stacked forward core. And yeah, I'm going to say stacked because assuming everybody comes back, a forward core with Besser, Petey, Miller, Toffoli, Pearson, Horvat, Gaudette, and Virtanen is not bad in the slightest, in my opinion. But I saw a lot of other Canucks fans saying, okay, well, this is fine. And really, it is fine. Because a guy like Mathias Bromé is in a position where, we already talked about this in the previous video, but he has a much better shot at making the NHL in general if he goes over to Detroit. Sure, Vancouver has the better roster on paper. And sure, if you play with Pettersson, it's probably better than playing with Darren Helm. But at the same time, Vancouver's tougher to crack if you're a super new free agent who's coming out of Europe, you've played European hockey your entire life, and you're trying to find a home in the NHL. It's not gonna be an easy transition if Bromé wanted to make the Vancouver Canucks at 25 years old, only playing Swedish hockey his entire life. Sure, he was great in the SHL, but not anybody can make that transition as smoothly as, let's say, an Elias Pettersson can. It's easier for the Red Wings because their forward depth is much, much worse than Vancouver. They have a much easier time taking a look at new players and saying, okay, let's thrust you into the middle six, see how you do, and then if you're not great, we'll send you down to Grand Rapids. Vancouver's in a weirder spot, and if Bromé was looking for a solidified NHL home, he would get that more likely with Detroit than with Vancouver. So, Red Wings fans, what we're getting here is a 43-point player in the SHL who got 43 points in 52 games played, one of the top point producers in the entire league, playing for the Örebro Hockey Club last season. Örebro was a middle-of-the-pack team. They weren't amazing, but they weren't too bad either, so Bromé is used to playing on teams that aren't necessarily great. He'll fit in right well with Detroit. Obviously, though, Detroit was much worse in the NHL than Örebro was in the SHL this past year. But now, there's another super Swede in Detroit. We'll see where he slots into the lineup, whether that's immediately into the middle six, playing with some pretty nice offensive tools, maybe playing with Zadina, I don't know. Just throwing out some options out there, you know. The guy can play both wings, so there's a lot of flexibility there. But we will see where things go on once the next season comes and goes. But for now, Mathias Bromé is a Detroit Red Wing. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.